This coming week, 1 year ago, on Tuesday, May 25th, the world held its breath as George Floyd lost his. And ironically, I stepped fully into my own voice. And I wanted to meet with national faith leaders in the Black church community across Canada to discuss honestly where we are at. Coming up next, we are speaking with Bishop Ransford Jones, national faith leader, award-winning social justice advocate, pastor, and head of the Black Canadian Clergy and Allies. And he's discussing an incredible movement that is sweeping this nation designed to address anti-Black racism. He gives his hope for the church. He has a word for faith leaders who continue to be silent. And he invites us to be part of a world-changing movement on Tuesday, May 25th. Why don't you join us on all available podcast platforms or subscribe to my YouTube channel? I'll see you on the path.
You're listening to On the Path podcast with Cheryl Nemhard. Follow Cheryl Nemhard on all social media platforms.
Hey guys, welcome to On the Path podcast. And I am super excited for this upcoming conversation because we are going to be going all the way there. We are speaking about anti-Black racism in Canada, the church's role, and what the Black church is doing to raise their voice and to address the situation. I'm super excited to have my guest with me, Bishop Ransford Jones. And I need to tell you about him. This is a man that is in the front lines doing the work. He is the lead pastor of Destiny Gospel Center. He is the 2021 BBPA Harry Jerome Award winner for leadership, the 2020 George William Gordon Award for Human Rights. He has won several awards for his outstanding contribution and service to the community and African Canadian achievement. He has an honorary doctorate and master's degree. He is well learned and he is on fire and passionate to see the justice and equality of Black Canadians in general be lifted up in this nation. Would you welcome Ransford Jones to On the Path? Sir, welcome.
Thank you very much, Cheryl. It's a great honor and a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's such a joy. And I'm so glad that we get to do this. I'm excited about what is going on. And there's some big announcements that we're going to be making today. So I can't wait. The first thing I think we should do is why don't we connect you with the listeners and let them get to know you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about you, sir, your story, how you came into even ministry, and how you took up this cause for racial justice in this nation.
Oh, thank you so much for asking me that. My journey has been one that is checkered with different timelines and events. As you know, I was born in Jamaica. I came to Canada in 1992. And then I started out in the corporate world, as you know, working in the automotive industry for 20 years. I felt a call of ministry in my life, even from when I was back in Jamaica. But it's when I came to Canada, it really took off and came to fruition. I started doing ministry bivocational, meaning that working in church and then doing a full-time job. In 2008, my wife and I, we decided to move to the city of Markham to start a new work. And starting a new work has never been an easy thing. A new church from scratch. And at that time, my wife was pregnant. She was going to university and working. So you know the pressure that entails. Yes. But we believe God had called us to move in that direction. And we trusted him and consolidated that great move and the great work. And he has entrusted us with a fantastic ministry. He has brought some great people into our lives, into our ministry, and they have assisted us until this time. I have always felt the desire and the call to not only to be insulated in the church, in the four walls of the church, so to speak, but I believe that community was such an important part of us reaching more into the community. Jesus called us to minister to the least of these. And we know that, community, we have been marginalized a lot in certain areas. We have seen the injustices, the racial prejudices, and the things that really go against the development and the progress of our people. And I have always had that desire for the cause. I've been associated with different community organizations. For example, the York Regional Alliance for African Canadian Community. I was one of the founding member of that, and that is a thriving organization in the city of York today, advocating for community and making sure that there is a level of justice and equity and equality in our community.
Mm-hmm.
And I work with from a church perspective, I'm a part of the member of the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, which is a council that informs the Jamaican government about issues in the diaspora. I was the chairman of the Canadian Jamaican Diaspora Christian Alliance, which again was a church organization that brought Church of Jamaican Heritage together to also inform the government. And I served that for 3 years. And then the last year, when the whole thing of George Floyd and the other people in our community, especially in the US, were being marginalized, I thought that was a transition to work in this area. Hence, we formed the Canadian Black Clergy and Allies.
Since the unjust murders of Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, as you said, Rashard Brooks, we can go on, Daunte Wright, and so many others, there's been this global cry for justice, racial justice, and for racial equality. And that has not just been centralized in the States, that is right across the globe.
No.
And I would love for you to speak to this, because there are many that would say that racism does not exist in Canada and that we do not have these issues over here. And I would love to ask you, sir, what are you seeing here in this national landscape?
Yeah, that is a fallacy. That is something that has been swept, we would say, under the carpet for a very, very long time. And we know that systemic racism exists in Canadian society at the very core of it. In fact, our Prime Minister acknowledges that systemic racism is in Canada and that we must try our best to eliminate it, dismantle it, make sure that this scourge that has tarnished our history must be eliminated so that our people, I'll use the term, breathe in all spaces and in all places. CBCA was formed last year out of, as most people have seen, and 25th of May, we will be commemorating George Floyd's death, but I'll speak a little bit more on that. But CBCA, the Canadian Black Clergies and Allies, was formed out of that experience. That was, I believe, a contemporary watershed moment in our history. We have had many of these episodes going back from way back when, and we can identify people who have inserted themselves, interjected in the system to ensure that our people get justice and freedom and liberty. You know, we go modern day time, we go from Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela. Those are people who have stood up against these repressive system, whether it was slavery, colonialism, you know, all those different apartheid, racial discrimination in the U.S. All these were things that have left a scourge and have really marginalized and really brutalized and terrorized our people over time. And the thing is that some people don't want us to talk about our history, but yet we would talk about the history of the children of Israel being delivered out of slavery. We talk about the Holocaust. We talk about different people's situations, but people become edgy and uncomfortable when we talk about slavery, which was the most brutal, devastating event upon one race of people in human history. Over 400 years, our people have been brutalized, terrorized, marginalized, the atrocities that were committed against our people. And then in modern times, we see the residue of the system that still prevails, even though many of these systems were say outlawed, but the residual impact and effect on it, we have seen it played out, and especially when we see how the police system brutalize our community, our young black men in many instances. Today, we have seen how social media, uh, television has brought many of these things to the forefront. Police are using body cameras now, and we've seen the revelation of some of these horrific things. Just imagine when those things weren't in existence. Some of the callous thing that was perpetrated against our people without no one knowing about it. So George Floyd event really caused us to start to rethink about the subject of racism and anti-Black racism, prejudices, discrimination in society that has really caused such an havoc on our community. So the last year when everybody saw this image is powerful. The image that they saw with the police officers kneeling on his neck and suffocating him, taking his life out of him, that really hit a nerve, not only in America or in Canada, but it was a global outcry.
Yeah.
And out of that outcry, now we thought, hey, in Canada, what are we doing? Where's the voice that is crying out in the wilderness? Where's the voice that is crying out? Now, where's the voice of the church? There are many voices out there, like Black Lives and other people, groups were out there doing their thing, protesting, whatever. And I said to myself, where is the voice of the church? Yeah. Where is the voice of reason? Where's the voice of righteousness that needs to cry out?
That is such a big question. I love that question, Bishop. Where is the church? Where is the voice crying out? And, I think about that, and I want to know, what is your hope for the church right now? We're speaking about the church and the desperate need for the church to rise up in Canada, to take her place and to lead the charge in speaking up for the voiceless, the marginalized, for standing for equality, equity, reconciliation, justice. What is your hope for the church? And what are your concerns, sir, about how faith leaders are navigating this moment right now?
I believe that the faith leaders, and especially church leaders, should be informed by the heart of God. There are many instances in the word that the Bible tells us about justice. In Psalm 33, 5, he said that he loves righteousness and justice. So it tells us that God is a just God, and where people are dealt with unjustly, the faith leaders who are labeled as the voice of righteousness must have a strategy, must speak up for the poor and the needy, the marginalized, the disenfranchised. Where there is injustice, we must speak out against it. My hope for the church is that the church must be an instrument of service, an instrument of hope, an instrument of reconciliation in the ending. That we must stand up in this time to ensure that those who have been marginalized and disenfranchised must rise above that. And how that is going to be done, not just by mere teaching or preaching or just the conversation about it. I have said to many of my colleagues who we have, let's back up a little bit, we brought a contingency of faith leaders together from last year, some of the major Black church leaders in the GTA. And out of that, CBCA was formed, Canadian Black Clergies and Allies. And we know that there are other brothers or the sisters out there who are necessarily Black. They might be white or Chinese or Asian or whatever. And they are coming alongside us, supporting us in the cause. So it's not just only the Black churches or Black preachers, because we know even Martin Luther King days, there were white brothers and sisters who were there alongside him because they stood up for justice. They stood up for the truth. They stood up against what is unjust in society. So we brought a group of people together, say, let's have a voice of reasoning within this. And we said that we have prayed. I have been out there in the streets, even during COVID time, leading protests, organizing protests in the streets of downtown Toronto. and to ensure that the voice of the church is heard. But more importantly, we want to see policy changes in the system, in the government, in the business sector, in the medical sector, in all areas of society. So the infrastructure that still supports systemic racism must be dismantled, and the church must have a viable voice in that dialogue. I was in another meeting last 2 Thursdays ago with a mayor in a particular city, and the moderator could have done some quick survey as to what the people in that panel, there were over 300 people, what they thought about the intervention of faith leaders in this dialogue. And 92% of them agreed and say that the faith leaders must be a part of this conversation. They must be in this dialogue. We need the faith leaders to stand up in this time.
Yeah.
So I am motivated by that. And but more importantly, I believe that the cause of justice is the cause of God. And if we're godly people, we must be on the side of justice. Where there is people who are being brutalized, terrorized, marginalized, I believe that the church must have a voice in that.
I love that, sir. Thank you so well said. And that is our hope too. That is our hope and prayers, that we become a relevant, resounding voice in this nation.
Yeah.
And we take up our place in this fight for peace and equality and justice. I want to dive into, just real quick, sir, I would love to dive into this organization, this incredible organization, the Canadian Black Clergy and Allies. Canadian Black Clergy and Allies, which is this growing organization of Blacks, non-Blacks, all ethnicities coming together for this common cause of ending systemic racism in Canada for Blacks. How did that come to be? What is the why behind that, and what do you hope to accomplish with this organization?
Yes, the why behind it, I believe, as I said, that the faith leaders, especially the church that I'm part of, we cannot sit by idly. We cannot sit by and just insulate ourselves in the four corners of the church and just have a good hallelujah time and then say that's what the church or the ministry is all about. We got to impact society. We got to look out for those, as I said, who are the least of these, who have been affected by the system that prevails. And there is an entrenched system in society. And sometimes I might say it is not as bad here in Canada as per se in the USA. But systemic racism and systemic anti-Black racism exist in Canadian society in such a very strong and entrenched way. We, as I said, we've seen even the Prime Minister calling out the RCMP, calling out some of the other institutions which are in Canada. And I believe that CBCA is a voice that has risen up, and we're looking for results. We're not here just to sing Kumbaya and to just be manipulated or used by politicians. We're here as the voice of righteousness and the voice of reason in this dialogue. And we want to see changes, policy changes, substantial changes that is going to affect the lives of our people. So we have equity, equality, justice, and hope for our people. We want to see our people have the same level of prosperity like any other ethnic group in Canada. And therefore, if that is going to happen, the playing field has got to be level. And our voice will be strong. Our voice will be crying out loud and clear, so people understand that there is a viable voice of faith leaders of the church crying out in this time. And we have had a great network of different people across the spectrum. We have been in dialogue with the political establishment and other entities to ensure that changes are happening, changes are being made in this time. So CBCA is just a body of some of, I would classify it, it's a multi-denominational body. And that's the key thing about it, that we have people from different parts of the Christian faith. And these are some of our most endearing leaders. And I called them together initially to have this dialogue and say, what can we do? And they were so embracing of the idea. And since last year, we have our official launch a few months ago, and we have some initiatives that we're working on in terms of education, economic empowerment. We want to see our people get involved in the political arena where the power is, because if no one is around the table speaking for you, people will just have their own assumption about who you are and what you are. So we want to see especially our young people these days, rise up in the. A lot of our young people are getting educated these days. They're finishing universities, having their bachelor's or their master's or PhD degree. And we have so many brilliant young people in our community. Brilliant. We want to see them excel. We want to see them reach the place around the table of power where they can make our voice be heard in that arena.
As they say, to have a seat at the table, and if a seat's not given, we will carve our place there.
Exactly. I always say to people, when others don't open the door for you, build your own house.
I love that. Oh, I love that. I was expecting you to say build your own door, build your own house.
Build your own house.
That's so good. I think just to echo everything that you said as a sum up, I think that I'm excited about this time. I'm excited about this time because for the longest time, being a faith leader myself in the Black church here in Canada, and now beyond that in multi-ethnic churches, there has never been a time that I have seen such unity amongst the Black church. And there's always been this separatist sort of thing. Everyone's sticking in their denominations, and even within, let's be honest, even within denominations.
Oh yes.
There is
absolutely
no together. But crisis has brought connectivity. Crisis has brought connectivity. And so now we are coming together. We're putting down our walls. We are seeing a common enemy, if you will, which is racism. And I'm excited that you have gathered and are still gathering these incredible leaders across Canada. I'm even more excited, sir, that they're not all Black. That means a lot to me. That means that we will get things done. That means we are spreading our reach as far and wide. And I love that you are looking to be a liturgical presence in the political arena. You want to have that church presence in education, in health systems. You're trying to advocate in all those areas. So like kudos to you, sir. I just want this to soar and to take off. Two more questions for you, because I know that there's a big event coming up that you want everyone to know about and be a part of. But I would love to give you an opportunity, because I know that your heart has been beating for this for a long time. I know that you have always been one of the faith leaders in our nation that has always been working towards working together. That's been your thing. You've never understood, why can't we just all work together? And that's the thing. What would you say to faith leaders right now in the nation of Canada that might stumble onto this conversation? What do you want to say?
Yes, I want faith leaders to understand the time that we're living in. The Bible said the sons of Issachar, they understood the times. We're in a pivotal watershed moment in our history. And because of what is happening now, I believe it is time for us to seize this moment, this time, this opportunity. If not now, when? If not we, who? I believe that we have the capacity, the capability, and we have the Lord on our side to ensure that we seize this moment. I just want to draw a reference to one powerful scripture the Apostle Paul was making in Acts 17, verse 20. He said, And he has made from one blood every nation of men to dwell upon the face of the earth, and has determined their pre-appointed times and the boundaries of their dwellings. Mm. That is such a powerful scripture, Julie. So we have networked with as we were very deliberate in ensuring that we have allies in our name, that we need our brothers and sisters from every other ethnic group, so that we can work together in this time and in this season. And we have collaborated, we have networked, and we see this great movement. And I believe it is a move of the Spirit of God. Amen. I believe that God is calling his church together in this time so that we will be united against this kind of evil that is in society. And that the outcome of this is that we will see that the beauty of reconciliation among our people. That is the intent. Paul said that he has given us the spirit of the word of reconciliation. Yes. So we must be reconciled one to another as God's people. You're my brother, you're my sister. None of us is bigger or greater than each other. We're all the people of God. He has made us of one people, of one blood, of every nation. So we can come together and work together for this, for the common good. And I believe that we will have a great impact by showing the world the light and the love that we must have. But we must not negate or neglect the fact that our house is a house that is on fire. Our house is a house that is burning down. So we need all of you to come and help us with your hose and help us out that fire. Yes. So we can live together in hope and in harmony, in unity and in love.
Yeah, so good. If we are the body of Christ, if we are the kingdom of God, there is a part of the kingdom. I love that. That's on fire. Yes. And if we care, if we say that we are one, then let's be one and let's help distinguish the fire, help bring normalcy, help speak to the chaos. I love that, sir. I want to talk about, just as we close, there's a big event coming up.
Yes.
We want every single person that hears this, that watches this, to know about the event. There's an invitation for them to be a part. And also, while you're speaking about the event, please share any other ways that we can support and be a part.
Great. Thank you so much for that. Yes, on May the 25th, which is next Tuesday, it is the anniversary of George Floyd's death that caused this contemporary movement that is happening around the world. And we want to have a memorial service for that event, and also for all of those who have been murdered over that particular time. We are inviting you to come and be a part of this wherever you are. We have many different things. We have political leaders, community leaders, faith leaders coming together on Tuesday to just have a great time to memorialize him and the others, and also to pray for a world, pray for peace, to pray for unity, to pray that we will come together and reconcile one with another, and ensure that we dismantle the scourge. President Joe Biden said that systemic racism assoil the soul of America. It assoils the soul of humanity. And we must work together to help eradicate this thing. So on Tuesday, please join us. You can link through our website. cbcablack2020.ca is our website. We're going to be streaming on Facebook, YouTube, all those platforms. So please come and join us and make sure that everybody become a part of this movement. It is a movement we started in the GTA, but we're spreading right across Canada. We have had linkages from Alberta, from Montreal, from different parts of Canada. People are excited to know that there is a voice of the church, a righteous, relevant voice in this dialogue. And the church is here to ensure that we change this narrative. So we want you to be a part of us. You can also join CBCA on our website. There's a page there that you can go and become a member. You can join by visiting our website and just put your information in. And for sure, we want everybody to come on board.
What is the
and again, that's why we use the terminology Canadian Black Clergies and allies, all our brothers and sisters. We want you to come together so we can join together in this cause.
And can I ask you what the website is, sir? If you can just state that.
Yes, it's CBCA Black 2020.ca. CBCA, as you see it on the screen there, Black 2020.ca. And you could watch the program on Tuesday through the link. Just click on the link and go to the website, and they open up those platforms for you to watch. And we're hoping and anticipating an exciting time on Tuesday.
Excellent. And is there a way that they can watch it? You said on Facebook. Do you have a page or?
Yes. Once they click on the website, it takes you straight into YouTube or Facebook, and you can watch it. You can there, or you can go to Canadian Black Clergies and Allies. You can Google that. Takes you to it, and you'll be able to watch it.
Excellent.
That time.
Sir, we are excited. And that again is Tuesday, May 25th at what time? Let the people
7 p.m. It will be at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. And I hope to be there as well. And so I encourage you all to join me on that night. We will gather and we will make a difference together. Sir, I have a surprise question for you. I always end all of my podcasts with a surprise question. Good. I would love, and I know you didn't get this ahead of time, I would love for you to finish this sentence for me in light of the conversation that we've been having. What is it time for? What is it time for? And you just simply say it's time for, and then fill in the blank.
It's time for action so we can have systemic anti-Black racism be dismantled in our society, so people can live together in hope, harmony, unity. We will have justice, peace, and prosperity.
Excellent. And I'm going to reverse it now, just go a little bit deeper. What is it not time for? What is it not time for?
It is not time for hate. It is not time for bigotry. It is not time for prejudice or discrimination. It is time for us to embrace the good in each of us for the betterment of humanity. It is time for that right now.
Bishop Ransford Jones, thank you so much for being on the path today. And I'm just so thankful for the work that you're doing. We are praying a mighty success in this organization and that it will have a great impact in this nation. Thank you so much for being on the path.
Thank you for having me, Cheryl. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much. Keep up the great work that you yourself are doing to make sure that everybody will be on the path. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, what an incredible conversation with Bishop Ransford Jones. I want to thank him and the Black Canadian Clergy and Allies Association for taking the time out to share with us honestly the work that they're doing, their hopes for the future, and also their honest assessment of where we are at still today. My takeaway from this conversation is that in order for worldwide change to happen, in order for significant movement and shift to take place, it requires all of us. It is not a job for one singular community. It is far greater, far more vast. It takes all of us, and it requires one thing, friends, unity. I pray that you will find that in your heart to stretch across divides of race, ethnicity, age, demographics, persuasions, and that we would link arms and that we would speak to the common enemy, which is racism. And my prayer is that we would grow closer and together, and that we would be able to push this not only back, but out of this great country. It is truly the true north, strong and free. And I pray that it remains so. And I pray that we do our part to ensure a happy and healthy nation for all of its inhabitants of all skin colors and ethnicities. May we all feel equal, and may we all find our voice in this great nation. And to those listening around the world, thank you for the work that you're doing in your own communities to make change. We celebrate you. We support you. And let's continue to cheer each other on. Until then, let's keep living, let's keep learning, let's keep loving, and I will see you on the path.
Thanks for listening. Please like, download, and subscribe. This has been an Exusian Media production.